ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Thursday night! You know why this is a great Thursday night?
Because a certain ritual is coming back.
And I'm not dead on the porcelain goddess.
Ha ha! That's good.
Indeed, so-
Yes, Zealeus has miraculously survived his ailment.
I did. It was very traumatic to my soul and my brain and my stomach and every place else. But I'm back and I'm style and I'm back to drinking on the show.
And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific comer himself, Zealeus.
It is good.
Woohoo!
Hey, Sam.
Hello, Sam Grizzle.
So tell me, sir, what tradition are we reenacting tonight? Oh, let it be. Is it the whole? Oh, my Thursday nights have not been complete until Charlie fills the glass of the Iron Thor to make it complete. The sweet sound of fizzle in the night. This is all I've been asking for these last couple months.
Now, many people might be asking, especially those who are listening on the podcast version of this, what the hell is Charlie doing? The easy answer is Charlie is going to do the do for the first time in what, like 2 months?
It's about 2 months, sounds about right.
So I went to my...
That is a beautiful face.
I know. Look at that. It's like spray, spray. I had a doctor's appointment today, and I explained that I've become a little bit scatterbrained and I've been forgetting stuff.
You became scatterbrained?
Yeah,
what?
exactly. So I was telling him, I was told, it's probably a good idea to remove caffeine from my diet. He said, "Who told you that?" And I said, well, I was starting to get like
All
body
your
aches, and my lymph nodes were all bad and stuff. He's like, oh, okay, well, you're going to have to at least drink some caffeine because that was actually like a low dosage medication that was actually helping you out. So don't binge on caffeinated beverages, but please start drinking caffeine again.
I think it's like most things in life is moderation is key. I mean, that's most things. If you enjoy a nice beverage in the evening, same thing. I'm not gonna sit back here and knock back a six-pack because I would cannot go to work tomorrow.
I can knock back a six-pack and
Charlie could, but I know I couldn't. So
No,
I'm gonna enjoy my nightly drink, but I also know that I'm gonna be responsible while I do it.
Fantastic.
That's most things we consume are in the same way. It's no different with video games. If you enjoy playing video games out there, hopefully you, unless you're in college where you can get away with dropping out and ruining your life, but if you have a life, a family, hopefully you're not, playing video games 18 hours a day unless you're doing it as a profession.
Yes.
Which I'm not yet.
You could. I don't know.
No, if you're doing it as a profession, that's fine.
Yes. So let's get right into it, shall we? And ladies and gentlemen, the first topic or agenda is the game BattleBorn.
BattleBorn!
Has basically 15 months after its launch, which of course was May 2016, the developers have stated
Gearbox.
that, Gearbox is actually the publisher.
I think Gearbox also developed it.
Let's see here,
It's basically, continue the story.
Right, anyways, so okay, BattleBorn is a game that's in the exact same vein as Overwatch and Paladins. And I mean, I've looked at some of the gameplay videos. I've watched some of the trailers and stuff, and it looked really cool. But the problem is that you're talking about an entity that no one's, it doesn't have any lore or background. It is Gearbox. Okay.
Yeah, it is Gearbox.
Oh, I thought it was just the publisher.
Gearbox is a developer, and it's published by 2K Games.
Ah, there you go. All right. So, anyways, the good news is for anyone out there who has played BattleBorn, apparently it's basically struck a chord with a lot of people who've played the game. The servers will stay up and will stay active for the foreseeable future. They're not just going to shut it down. However, the fall update is going to be the last update for this game, and it's already dropped.
Works for an online and PvP type of game, not being able to have balance updates, new characters, new maps.
Yeah.
I mean, just, this probably has that nice little niche hardcore audience, but my guess is it's probably, the popularity isn't going to last too long. And they're saying over the summer, I mean, they were having days where the most concurrent players were 250 concurrent players.
Well, the problem was that 3 weeks after, 3 weeks after BattleBorn was released, Overwatch came out.
I mean, that's that's just bad timing. I mean, you're trying to be the FPS and coming out against Overwatch, you know, the 1,100-pound gorilla in the ring right now. It's just going to be an uphill struggle. There's no other way around it.
Well, the problem was, okay, so they launched in early May 2016. Then 3 weeks later was Overwatch. By mid-June, they had to go free to play. So they were attempting to do the Overwatch route where you pay upfront and then you get the updates. However, that wasn't going to work. So they changed it, and unfortunately, But here's the thing that's mind-boggling. Okay, so in this fall update, which happened 2 weeks ago, they brought new skins that were themed for Borderlands. So they had Borderland-themed skins.
Well, of course, you know, before this, about 2 weeks ago, Gearbox came out and said, we're going to go back and help continue on one of our franchises and make something that's awesome. They didn't actually name it, but I think we all know it's coming.
Right, it's Borderlands 3.
Yes.
But here's the thing: the individual the creative director over BattleBorn has basically said that there is a highly anticipated but so far undescribed project in the works at Gearbox that is now commanding his attention, which once again. It's probably Borderlands 3.
Yeah. Borderlands 3, or could it be Borderlands Online?
Like a first-person shooter Borderlands? Like Overwatch thing?
Here's the thing that works. Here's my trepidation when you come to you get online games, let's just take like MMOs like World of Warcraft, right? Where you have both the PvE and PvP elements. No matter what you do with the balance, it's hard to I think it's really hard to. I think the MMOs are hardest games to balance because if you do anything to a class, you're doing it to both the PvE and PvP.
Well,
so it's a double whammy. But take Borderlands, right? Is because it was no PvP, some of those character skills would be totally broken in a PvP environment. But what would be broken skills, and some of them are broken in PvE also. But that's also what gave it its fun gameplay. And now that'd be my fear for Gearbox if they turn it into kind of, try to go back into the PvP realm with Borderlands, is some of those crazy, fantastic skills that you get with the PvE elements, it just doesn't work in PvP because it just breaks the gameplay.
Well, the thing is, and this is why I would hesitate about having like an MMO or something along those lines with Borderlands, is the randomization mechanic of guns.
That's fair.
That would be the hardest because how the hell do you balance it? You'd have to have set weapons.
Destiny has PvP.
Right, but
it still seems like I haven't played Destiny, but my impression of Destiny is, yes, there's PvP, but PvE is clearly the emphasis of the game.
Well, co-oping is the emphasis of the game.
Well, but not PvP is the emphasis. How's that?
Right.
I mean, it's there that you can do, but you think Destiny, I don't think deathmatch. I think
No.
Raids.
Team.
Yeah.
Team raids and all that stuff. No, absolutely.
So it's, Gearbox, I hope they can come out with another great, Borderlands 1 and 2 are two of my favorite games of all time. I love those games. They're fantastic. The gameplay.
I don't know what my dad did wrong. He said he stopped playing Borderlands because he couldn't get past the very first thing. I'm like, how could you not get past the very first thing? The hell were you doing?
And he's like an FPS guru.
I know. Knowing my dad, he probably just walked into a corner like as far away from whatever the objective was and then was like, I don't know what to do.
Nice. I love
the thing is, my dad is an FPS expert. However, almost every single game he plays, it's on the rails. It's literally, they lead you around. However, Borderlands has that kind of sandbox feeling. You can basically go wherever the hell you want to.
And
and I wonder if you got lost.
I'm not a big sandbox person, but Borderlands was the perfect balance for me between like being kind of on the rails and being able to explore and do your thing. It just struck the exact right.
The thing is that with Borderlands, there is areas to explore, but it isn't overbearing. It's not overwhelming of, oh my God, look at this humongous map and little places where I need to go. So I think that's a great balance. But I feel like I should at least play BattleBorn just once, just so I could feel what it's like.
Is it free to play now?
Yeah, it's free to play right now. And like they stated, the servers are up and going for the foreseeable future. So.
Interesting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next topic. And the next topic is a company that either lives in infamy with you or one that you're excited to hear from.
Yay!
And that's Niantic Labs. Niantic Labs, of course, is the company behind Ingress and the highly sought-after, touted Pokemon Go.
And what they're planning on doing with their AR games is potentially adding audio clues. And so here's the thing that struck me about this, is when I was reading it, is, so basically what they do is, like, let's say you're looking for a target. Right now, what they're saying is it looks, it's silly that you're holding up a phone to try to find something.
Right, you're walking around like this.
You're walking around like that. And that's actually one of the things that drive me nuts about trying to play Pokemon Go, is I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't want to have my phone holding up and, like, having that audio or buzzing or some kind of clue as far as when you're close to have it, like, finding what you're looking for would have been perfect. So for me, this is like a duh type of moment. I'm like, why isn't this, like, already a thing? It was kind of my take on this. I'm like, that's, it's almost to me like receiving a phone call on here. I don't want to have to look at my phone all the time to see when I'm receiving a phone call. I already get audio-visual clues.
Well, okay, so I think one of the issues that they're probably trying to tackle is that if you're going to do an AR game that utilizes audio cues, you're probably going to have to do a surround sound such a situation so that you can gauge how far you are and from what side it's going. Unfortunately, the vast majority of us who are listening to or utilizing our phones as a music player or whatever, we probably only have one earbud in, so that kind of defeats the purpose.
I could still see them doing simple as how fast it pings. Like, one ping, you're far away, 2 beats, beep, beep, you're medium and so on. Or it could be how loud it is, up to a maximum volume, obviously. You don't want to blow out eardrums. So I think, I hear what you're saying, because that is part of AR, it's the total immersive environment. But I think his point about how you don't see people, it looks nerdy or geeky or whatever, like walking around with your phone, they're probably not mentioning people walking around with a full, 5.1 surround sound headset either.
Well, the other thing is that, and this is another reason why they don't want people walking around with their phones, is the amount of traffic accidents that have occurred because individuals are looking here and not in the world. So we'll see. The game has been confirmed that it is in development, and there's a rumor that it may even launch next year. However, what the subject matter is, what amount of emphasis is going to be put on these audio cues or whatever, it's anyone's guess.
Let's see here. Mario, plumber or not?
Not.
You have to go fix the plumbing in order to beat the game.
Oh, dear God.
Because Mario can't do it anymore.
That fat bastard.
Ah, man, slacking off. Probably can't even beat Bowser anymore on his own.
No, I think there's a video on Dorkly, I think, and it's about this like weaponsmith for Bowser. It's like, you got to stop using these stupid guns. Let me give you the real thing. And you went to an army surplus depot and get like Gatling guns, and it's literally like mowing down everybody in the Mushroom Kingdom. Ha-ha! Anyways, let's move on to the next one. The next one is a little bit of what's your face. Thanks a lot, Lost Shaman. My face is not a fat bastard, okay? But it's okay. I forgive you.
I thought he was talking about me.
No, I'm pretty sure he's talking to me. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, there's an amazing thing called Extra Life. Extra Life is a charity organization or event, or however you want to look at it, that is run by the Children's Miracle Network. It is a year-long drive for donations, and all those donations go to one of the hospitals or children's hospital organizations that are attached to the Extra Life. Of course, in Atlanta, where we are, our choice is Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Not the TARDIS.
No, so I mean, it's an amazing thing. All the money goes to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. It is tax deductible if that's what allows you or makes you you donate. The cool thing is, I have just become the point of contact person for the Georgia Game Developer Association and Extra Life. So I am basically the person that Georgia Game Developer Association will go through, as well as CHOA will go through me as well.
Is this something you volunteered for?
No, I was volunteered for it, and I was like, sure, because I'm hoping. I know that there's a day. It's called Cape Day. Wear your cape. And it's basically a super everyone's a superhero to help the kids, and so you can get a cape, and you can wear it around for that day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when does do you remember what the date? I think it's like in November, right?
November 4th.
November 4th.
November 4th is 24-hour Game-a-thon. Now, for anyone out there who's wondering about, how can I get involved with Extra Life? You go to extra-life.org. And you can sign up today, or you can form a team. Now, as Zealeus alluded to, November 4th is a 24-hour Game-a-thon. You don't have to do that, okay? It's a great way to get exposure and try to pull in as many donations as possible, but you don't have to. The other thing that a lot of individuals don't understand is that Extra Life, that 24-hour Game-a-thon, does not have to be video games. It could be tabletop, it could be board games, pencil and paper, or hell, if you want to, you can even do a LARP.
It could be a mix between it.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can basically bounce between all different genres. The important thing is that you're raising money for the children.
Who doesn't love the kids, man?
Children. So anyways, definitely something you need to check out. Ultra Confusion, of course, already has an Extra Life team. If you'd like to donate to us, that would be amazing. You can either donate to us. If you're watching this on Twitch, there is a button down below for Extra Life that you can click on and go straight to our donation page. Ta-da! Or you can go to our website, www.alteredconfusion.com, and it will be a donate button on the left-hand side of one of the graphics.
Or just be like me and Google it.
That's it. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you can spare any amount of money, it would be phenomenal if you could put your money towards Extra Life. You don't have to donate to Ultra Confusion. If you have a buddy or a group that's also doing this, please, as long as you donate money, that's the best.
Which hardly is pretty awesome. So you should still donate to Cello.
I try.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next one. And the next one is Fortnite. All right, we talked about Fortnite like a couple of weeks ago, and it was about how they were nickel and diming everybody with the traps.
We weren't very impressed with the microtransaction model that the game was using, basically.
No, but here's the interesting thing. So it came out onto console, on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So there is in place a cross-platform ability, but it's from PlayStation 4 to PC or Xbox One to PC. Mm-hmm. However, the developer of Fortnite apparently forgot to cancel out or comment out a little bit of code, and it allowed for cross-platform play between the Xbox and the PlayStation 4.
What? I didn't think it was possible.
It's actually very, very possible.
I thought it was inconceivable to make this happen. I thought the Sony overlords could not make this happen because it was so technologically impossible.
Actually, Sony wants nothing to do with it
because
if they allow that to happen, that means that it doesn't matter what console you have.
Basically, it doesn't benefit Sony to allow cross-platform play. That's what it comes to. It's a straight-up business decision by Sony. Because right now, I mean, if you look at the total sales around the world, they're leading the sales over Xbox. Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, it's just the business decision. They know if they allow cross-platform play, people will be there's less inclination to buy the PlayStation 4 over the other devices. Because now you have PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4 that can all play together.
So, but here's the interesting thing, okay? So Microsoft or Xbox is whatever you want to call it, is coming out looking like a champ because the president, the Xbox One boss, Phil Spencer, has basically come out and said, I really would have liked to have seen the cross-platform play stay on. That would have been cool.
Yeah, I saw that. He's like, I liked it, but I didn't have a choice.
Right. I mean, the thing is, so the developer had to quickly disable it and termed it as being a bug. And the type of bug was a configuration issue, which is total BS. I've been a QA tester forever and a day. That is just, we screwed up.
Yes.
And and I'm pretty sure they probably knew because they wanted to see what would happen.
So you think this was deliberate just to do a little trial?
What was it? Do it and then ask for forgiveness later.
It's easier to seek forgiveness than it is to ask permission.
There it is.
This is the truest word.
It is. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Boop. And it's off. But at the same time, people are like, It is possible. Now that seed has been planted.
Yeah, it's no longer an issue of Sony being like, it's just not possible. Sorry, bros.
We got different architect and numbers, and the ones are zeros with us, and they're upside down for over there.
We have 2s and R's.
How many games currently cross-platform? I don't know of any. There's probably a very fine few. I would assume. I don't know. Is there any between Xbox? I don't know. I'd have to research that, to be honest with you. I'm not exactly sure, but it would be awesome. It really would be awesome.
I know Sony doesn't want to, but it would just be, like you said, it would be awesome. But whatever. It's not my call because none of us in there and there making these decisions. It's very sad.
Next one.
On to the next one.
So South Park is coming out with a new game called South Park: The Fractured Butthole.
Oh, good lord.
And so this game, one of the characteristics that's making a lot of noise right now is their difficulty slider. And for the difficulty slider, what happens is your character's skin gets darker and darker and darker. As it gets darker, the difficulty ramps up. So basically, there's a difficulty slider that makes your character's skin color darker depending on how difficult you want the game to be. This difficulty will not affect combat. However, it will affect every other aspect of your character's life. So what that means is that it will affect the amount of money you receive and the way other characters talk to you and treat you. Now, of course, you have a lot of people going, oh my God, this is racist. This is, pitchforks and fire and
They do realize that it's South Park, right?
Right. South Park
that's their thing.
South Park is always trying to push the envelope. They're always looking for some kind of social commentary. And this is absolutely, it's a form of social commentary about racism. Well, I mean, that's what it is.
You know, if another game did it, like, let's just say Mass Effect, where you can choose your character skins, it wouldn't fit into the game. Like, it would be totally misplaced in a lot of video games to have the skin affect the difficulty of the game. It just doesn't work. But in a game like that South Park makes, where clearly throughout the entire history of the South Park run, they've done stuff like this with the social commentary, where, keep in mind, they bash everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, nobody's off limits to South Park.
Oh, God, yes.
Where this makes sense. So I see South Park doing it, I'm like, you go South Park, like, this is what they do. And for somebody like South Park who can do, whether or not you agree or disagree with what they're doing, the fact that they're doing it, to make people think about it and stop and think. So I'm like, go South Park on this.
All right, Axel says he hasn't actually heard much outrage about it. What he's heard is a lot of people saying, did you see what they did? They're edgy. Now, I will say this, the one really interesting and kind of envelope-pushing thing that they did on top of this difficulty scale is the fact that you can choose the gender of male, female, or other, which that's a first.
Other's edgy too, man.
I know, because then binary individuals are...
Does choosing your gender change the game at all?
No, just your preference.
So you don't make 17% less on the dollar for your male counterparts in the game?
That would be funny. That would be funny.
However,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next one. The next one is a shout out. There's an author by the name of Dan Jolly. He is the mastermind behind a trilogy, the Grey Widow trilogy, and the first 2 books are out. The third one is coming out next May, and this is a pretty good book series. You're basically got a heroine who is a vigilante who utilizes her special gifts to kind of rein in the justice in Atlanta. And then it kind of blossoms on from there. Of course, he's written a ton of other books, but I highly recommend that you check out Dan Jolly and the Grey Widow series, because I really liked it.
Really? You don't say.
All right, next shout out. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are probably a little bit older than some, there was this amazing...
Are you calling me old?
Yes, you're ancient.
Damn you!
Anyways, there was once upon a time a magazine. It's paper that comes together. You read No, that's not a magazine.
Paper.
Yeah, it's paper, but in a glossy format. Anyways, there was a magazine that was called Dragon Magazine, and TSR, who was the owner of Dungeons and Dragons back then, was trying to find something fun, something unique. So they approached an artist by the name of Larry Elmore. Elmore then produced a comic called Snarf Quest, revolving around an individual that went by the name of Snarf. And basically the premise of the comic was he was trying to get the most money in the entire town so he could be king. Well, fast forward to a couple of years ago, a gentleman by the name of James Simpson worked and coordinated with Larry Elmore to create a digital adventure for Snarf Quest. It's called Snarf Quest Tales. The first episode is out. You can get it on Steam right now. The best thing is that Larry and James have been working hand in hand. So the design, the storyline, all that stuff, Larry's absolutely 100% involved in. And the really cool thing is the vast majority of the voices in this game are done by the very famous Honest Trailer voice guy.
And I was fortunate enough to run into both Larry and James, thank you, at DragonCon, where I got the picture with them. And so they also had over to the side this cute gal helping them out and, you know, selling stuff. And so I'm flipping through all the pictures. And I find one, it's of this pirate chick. And James looks at it, he's like, "Do you know who that is?" I'm like, "No." He like nods over to like the chick who's selling. I look up, down, I'm like, that's awesome. So, but of course you start looking through the Larry Elmore stuff, and you see all the very 80s TSR style of
scantily clad women.
Yes, where you talk about MMOs, where the less armor you wear, the higher your hit points and armor value. Oh, Larry Elmore started that trend.
Well, he didn't start it, but he definitely emphasized it.
Him and I forget the artist. His last name starts with a B. There's another guy around the same time who did a lot of the same art style, who really made that popular. So yeah, but I mean, he has fantastic art style.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The problem is I can't really picture myself hanging this, awesome picture of the scantily clad, chainmail women right over like my mantle. Like people walk in and be like, really?
Yeah, but seriously, check it out, or at bare minimum, just Google Larry Elmore and see some of the art that he's created. It's pretty damn cool.
If you're into D&D or ever were in it, you'll recognize the art style.
A lot of the like Dragonlance and Dungeons and Dragons books, that art is Larry Elmore. So seriously, check it out. All right, next story. This one is kind of interesting. It makes me smile on the inside, just slightly. And that is that the Overwatch development team has finally come out and basically said why the reason behind why development is so freaking slow on Overwatch. And the simple answer is rising tide of toxicity. So basically, this is literally Blizzard's way of kicking everybody in the nuts and saying, play nice or you don't get nice things. So what they're saying is that because of the amount of toxicity and harassment and all that stuff that's happening in Overwatch, Blizzard is putting more and more time and effort into a reporting system and also trying to find ways of dealing with toxicity or trolls or any of that matter. And they're not spending their time on giving you new skins, new maps, new modes, all that stuff.
Which I hope is true, because Blizzard up until this point has done shit about toxicity in the game. I think with the amount of money invested in this pro league, I think that they don't have a choice. They've got to. They have to, because the problem is you look at the consoles. The console games don't even have freaking reporting for toxic players. That's one of the first problems. And Blizzard's been saying reporting is coming to the consoles for like a year now. So we're still waiting on reporting for the consoles. And one of the big things is you look at people. So the big thing that people like to do in Overwatch. So one of the design ideas that Overwatch had the brilliant idea of doing was, in order to get your golden skin guns, you have to get competitive points. The problem is the easiest way to get competitive points is by going up your tiers. Once you get to like your top tier, let's just say like your gold tier, like that's as far as you're going to get is up to level 2,500, and you can't really get much higher. You really stagnate how many points you can get. So there's an extremely strong incentive that Blizzard created to actually go all the way back down to bronze level and then power level your character back up and go down. And there's notorious players out there who intentionally go on, while they're live streaming, mind you, and stream these games of them intentionally throwing games and just being insanely toxic. And you know how many of these players get banned by Blizzard? None. They don't. Blizzard doesn't ban people. That's part of the issue. And
this is why.
See, that's the thing is Blizzard, they're throwing shade on an issue that they created and they've done nothing to solve. So
well, they didn't create toxicity. They basically created an environment that allowed for toxicity to basically dwell.
Which they're totally at fault for, and they're yes, players are at fault, don't get me wrong, but when Blizzard isn't taking any responsibility for their lack of doing anything about it, that's what pisses me off about that.
And as a result, they've basically said, we're not going to give you nice things unless you can be nice. So what they're saying is they do have player reporting tools on the PC, and they have. I don't understand why they just came on the console. You would think that the player reporting tools upon the game's release would be available to any platform it's on. But anyways, console just has it. Excuse me. Since the launch of the game in May 2016, there have been 480,000 accounts that action has been taken on. And out of that, 3,400,000 are direct results of the player reporting tool. So I mean, they're paying attention. I don't know if they're just slapping people on the wrist, but going forward, what they're going to do is they're not going to. A lot of games have created basically this like naughty pool, where trolls can basically be with trolls until you clean up your act, and then you get enough. What was it like? Honor or praise or good karma. Yeah. Then you can basically rejoin the general populace. They're not going to do that. What they're promising is if you are a bad person doing bad things in Overwatch, we don't want you in Overwatch. I don't know what that means. I mean, it could be along the lines of what Tripwire Interactive is doing or has done with Killing Floor 2. Basically stating, if you're a douchebag and you try to harass or you try to troll, we are in our own right to pull your ability to play our game. And if you want to play again, you got to buy it again. And of course, I mean, the thing is, toxicity is always going to be astronomical on any online platform because you have the anonymity that no one has to know who you really are, and so you can get away with freaking verbal murder, or in-game murder, or coups, or sabotages, or backstabs, or whatever.
But it's amplified a lot by the fact it's a PvP-oriented game.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, just the fact it's PvP, and that you're also driven. There's a reward for winning, and the problem that you also run into with the way that your competition rating is done in the game is it doesn't take long for people to start being toxic in the games. So that's interesting to see. I'm not a fan of the whole toxic player pool because that doesn't solve anything.
No, it doesn't.
Then they'll just play with toxic players, and that probably actually makes it worse because then they'll just shit on each other.
Well, no. The problem is that if you do this naughty pool or this toxic area, people are going to be toxic to each other, and then they're just be like, yeah, okay. And then everybody is going to basically go back in everyone's good graces because a troll is not going to report another troll.
Yeah.
So they're, it's like you put all the bad people in a small room, and they all know that they're bad. But if they could sit there for 5 minutes, they could come out and play with all the other kids. That's what we're going to do. And then you get, it's like, and the slate is clean, it's wiped. And you got to basically go through all this to go right back into it.
So if they actually start taking action against people who are obviously being toxic, throwing games is a huge issue to drop up and down the tiers, then hopefully they do that. I'm hoping they do, because I've stopped playing Overwatch because the toxicity is so obnoxious. It's not even fun to play anymore.
Well, I know that, I don't know how severe they do get in Smite. However, I know that if you leave a game and at least one person reports you, I think that it's incrementally increases your deserter time, and literally you just have to watch a timer.
They have that. They have that for competitive play in Overwatch, but you still have. It's not uncommon to play 10 games and half the games have a deserter. And to be fair, the deserter penalty that's automatic is pretty harsh. The problem with the deserter that happens in Overwatch, and that's one of the other reasons I stopped playing competitive, if the match starts and my teammate leaves the game, I still lose competitive points, even though I didn't have a chance of winning. And that happens probably in 50% of the games in competitive. So I'm like screwed.
And to be honest with you, that's not just Overwatch. That happens across the board. I've played a couple of Smite matches recently where there's one mode called Assault. It's literally one lane, random assigned gods, and you just go. Well, an individual was pissed that no one wanted to trade with them for what god they had because no one wanted to play that god. So 2 minutes into the match, they DC'd, and then they never came back. And of course, my team got our asses whooped because that was the healer. But the other, okay, so here's my biggest qualm with individuals that literally I wish there was like some button I could push and then someone got punched in the face for this, okay? If you're in a queue, that means that you want to play the game, okay? That doesn't mean you put yourself in the queue and then, I don't know, take a nap, take a shower, go eat a sandwich, and everybody gets excited like, all right, we're going to the game. And then it goes, player failed to check in.
Okay, here's what I don't get. So, in a game like, let's just say Overwatch or you're a game like, there's some way, like you might get disconnected or like you might have been in the queue for a while and you stepped away from your computer. So I played in this online shoot 'em up game called Hawk. And you can play co-op with other people. It's the type of game where like I seek out for help. The person, like, the only way they can join is by clicking accept, and then after they click accept, they have 10 seconds to join your match. And the amount of people who say accept and then don't join after 10 seconds is baffling to me. I'm like that 10 seconds, like, did your phone blow up? What happened?
No. Okay, so like with Smite or probably just choose your online game, the competitive play, or PvP or whatever.
Yeah.
The amount of individuals who will click on, yep, I'm ready, let's play this game, and then once you get into the load screen where everyone's choosing your character, they don't choose anyone. Like, what? Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Seriously, you said, yep, I want to play, and then you decide, what the, did you, like, I don't know, did you have like a narcoleptic episode or something? You son of a bitch. Thankfully, the couple of games that I do play that allow you to apply boosters. Basically, you get more like XP or favor or special points if there's like a special contest going on. You will be refunded those if some moron goes, I forgot that I said yes, I want to play this game.
So in a perfect world, how would you help sell Toxicity in these PvP-oriented games?
To be honest with you, I'd rule with a freaking iron fist. I'd say that the thing is, you have to be careful because there are going to be those trolls who are going to band together and try to eliminate some people who are actually playing the game correctly.
So when you say rule with the iron fist, like what would be your punishment? Would you do the banning route? Would you do the naughty pool? Would you say they can't play ranked? Like what would you go with?
I would.
A special server just for naughties?
No. I would not mess with the naughty pool. That was definitely not there. I would say that the first thing is you take away the option for competitive play until you have, I don't know, X amount of days or something of good behavior. Then you may have the option of returning. But if you're playing casually and you're still being an absolute douchebag, then I think we're talking about temporary bans, where your account's literally locked. You will get a message if you try to load in the game. Unfortunately, you still have this amount of time before you can actually utilize this game.
I'm pretty much agree.
But of course
the bans need to be stronger.
But of course, here's the issue though. With a free-to-play game, people could just make, a bunch of different accounts. With Overwatch, I mean, technically, someone could pay, was it $60?
It's usually, I think, 30 to 40 nowadays, but
still, I mean, so you're going to have to pay to keep doing it, and some people do. I mean, hell, the amount of freaking professional players that have alt accounts so they can test out new strategies and stuff and beat the ever-living piss out of, little Johnny who thought he was doing okay, and this guy comes in and literally just floors everybody, has like every single kill in the game.
Well, that's the thing with the streamers, and that's where a lot of popular elements of toxicity come from, is you have these streamers where, to do this whole, like, drop the bronze and go up to platinum or whatever, is like, for them, the $30 to them is like a drop in the bucket.
Oh, absolutely.
To be able to buy a new game, it's like, okay, I made that in like 10 minutes because my subscribers find this so entertaining.
Oh yeah, ad revenue.
Yeah, and so for them, and that's where it becomes hard. I mean, do you start blocking by IP at some point? I mean, I know there's ways around that.
Or do you tie to? You wouldn't be able to tie to IP because the vast majority of your ISPs, they randomize your IP so you can't run a server off of it.
Tie it to your driver's license, like scan us your driver's license, and it's got to be. Remember at one time, that's one of the reasons. Many years ago, remember when Blizzard wanted to tie your ID to Facebook?
Was it True ID or True Name?
I think they called it, I don't remember, but that's one of the reasons they wanted to tie it to Facebook, was so like they could tie it to a real person, and if something happened, well, guess what? Your real person is, dead.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. The thing is that it gave a very uncomfortable amount of
real information.
No, not real information. Well, yeah, of course, real information, but the amount of blame or what's the word I'm looking for? It added, people knew who the hell was saying things.
Oh, yeah.
So it added a lot more importance, probably a lot more fear, and at the same time, maybe people wouldn't be as ready to hit the send button.
Well, I don't think that was a good. I don't think that's a good solution to go with the real ID, but
it did scare some people.
I can understand why Blizzard considered it.
Right. Well, they wanted to. If you basically have the actual player's name, that means that they can't hide. However, you could definitely see it the other way around, where you're having a harassment issue, and this is really the unfortunate thing, is you have female players who are basically masquerading as male players because they know they want to be treated as equals. So if you were to put the real name thing, now it's Alice Henderson, and you're like, oh, it's a chick. Well, I'm going to go after her now.
And I'm going to look on Facebook and Instagram.
I'm going to stalk her.
I think one of my other issues potentially with reporting on Overwatch is I don't know what happens when I report people. Like, I can understand why there's not like a tracking system. There's time, as people say things that like, yeah, I'm reporting you. I have no way of knowing if that's actually effective. I know you spouted off the numbers, but to me, they're kind of meaningless in terms of knowing what I've experienced and just being like, okay, I've reported this person, but what if you do?
And the thing is, with those figures, I stated is this is the number of incidents that actually went through the player-driven system. However, what the hell came of that report isn't listed.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like, okay, they're put on the naughty list. We're not really going to do anything. We're just going to say, yep, that guy's a douchebag. Which I'm sure a lot of games do. I know for Smite you've got goodwill points. You start at 100%. That means you get 100% of the favor, the followers, and any other statistic that you would gain through a match. When people start reporting you, your goodwill drops down, and if it drops to 0, that's when you get a timeout.
It would be kind of like an Overwatch. Basically, the equivalent of that, and it doesn't happen, but would be experience. Because experience is how you get loot boxes, to get all your fancy skins and stuff. So maybe some kind of like degradation of experience you get. And I wouldn't do timeout. I would do actually have to play matches. Because, if you get, timeout for a day, okay, just turn off the game for a day. Does it actually fix anything? Whereas if you get in trouble, you actually have to go through 10 games of not being a D-bag. Now you're actually putting time into the game, And I think that really does incentivize people, even if you actually have to play games.
True, because the other thing is that a lot of people, with a lot of these games, you have those like first wins of the day. Or, you know, every single day you get, I don't know, if you log in every single day, you get like a bonus. So what what people could do is they get that one win or they get that bonus out of the way, then they'd be a douchebag. You ban them for a day. They come back the next day because the ban's over, and they still basically reap the rewards of logging in the very next day. So anyways, in the same vein as what our discussion, let's talk about some big news, and that is Team Envy. Who basically, I think they have, it's a huge esports franchise. They've got teams in Overwatch, Counter-Strike, I think League of Legends. Anyways, they're a massive organization. They were based out of North Carolina, but thanks to what's being reported as a $35 million deal, Team Envy will be moving from North Carolina to Texas, and they will become the Dallas, to be precise, and they're going to be the Austin Dallas team for the professional Overwatch League. Now, if you remember, so you've got the eSports Overwatch stuff that's going on all over the place, but then Blizzard has their own league, the Overwatch Pro League, and those are all location locked teams. You have one in New York, you got one in Boston, you got one in Florida, that's going to be the Orlando, Miami. You've got, I believe, one in San Francisco, one in LA, and now you've got Austin, Dallas. You also have Seoul, Korea, and then I believe Shanghai or Hong Kong. And I'm sure I think there's one more, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But remember, to get into that league is a $20 million buy-in. But the fact of the matter is that Team Envy is one of the top places. They have basically top players in every single franchise they're a part of. As a whole, they've won more competitive titles than any other organization.
More money and more esports.
Indeed.
I wish I had $35 million to spend on an esports team. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I could build my dream Smite team.
Now, of course, so a lot of people are going, okay, so you're moving Team Envy. How many people are you literally moving from North Carolina to the Dallas area? And the estimate is 50 people, which tells you that there's at least, usually each team needs like 6 or 7.
Plus an alternate, probably.
Plus an alternate. So you're looking at potentially 7 or 8 different franchises that this gentleman, I believe, an oil magnate.
It's like a giant frat house. That'd be awesome.
I know, seriously. So
or terrible.
Good job for. I mean,
I hope they have a good
go Team Envy. I mean, that's awesome. More power to you. Esports is here. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. If you think that the esports stuff is going to go away, it's gaining momentum really, really fast.
It could be the esports bubble.
Now, here's the one thing, and this is something that I brought up several times now. My one concern.
Just one?
Okay, my top concern is a governing body that basically standardizes the pay, the rules, the exceptions, the schedule, all that stuff. Because you're looking at something that is, speeding down the tracks. The question is, I know this is going to sound crazy, but they need to discover or they need to lay out what you can and cannot have or use in any of the different modes that you could play.
I would imagine Overwatch. I imagine each league's going to do that. Well, like Overwatch League's going to have their rules and regulations. The League of Legends League, they'll do that. So each league will probably just do their own very specific rules to their game. Can you use your own mouse, keyboard? Are you allowed to have an energy drink within 10 minutes of the match? Are you allowed to have Adderall, even if it's prescribed? I don't think some players could function without their energy drinks.
if your tournament is in an area that has legalized pot, are you allowed to smoke before, after, or during the match? I mean, there's the thing is, when you have. The thing is, yes, there are some, like, they're not written rules. They're just like unwritten, like, okay, we're going to utilize Razer brand keyboard and mouse.
Because they sponsor us.
Because that's the sponsor. There's not like they don't have like in writing, okay, it has to be this type of keyboard, this type of mouse. Sam Grizzle says pot is only illegal at pie eating contest. I'm pretty sure hot dog eating contest.
What about hot dog? Yes.
But anyways, I think honestly, I mean, I'm very excited, but I really do think that if they lay the groundwork or they build up the foundation of like rules and regulations, it's not going to bite them it's not going to bite them in the ass down the road. And if esports flies down the track and it takes off, everyone's excited, and then like there's room for a humongous controversy or misunderstanding or I don't know, something else that literally could in their face.
It's kind of like teaching. It's always easier to be much stricter up front and then loosen up the rules.
Exactly.
Than it is the way they're around. Because like you said, something can go back to hunt. If esports, let's just hypothetically say, let's say they're really strict off the front and say no Adderall for anybody, no exceptions. It's a lot easier to do that, and then a year down the road be like, okay, we're going to loosen up Adderall for kids with addictions.
Or they allow the individual...
not addictions, with prescriptions.
An individual who requires it, maybe they soften the rule by saying you can take it, but only X amount of time before the match.
Whereas the other way around of saying it's, nothing's, everything's allowed now, and then trying to tighten up. Well, it's a lot easier to go stricter to harder.
Well, right. The other thing is that if you're not required to tell anyone or disclose information,
who knows what they're doing?
Exactly. And then when all of a sudden you go, whoa, you need to tell us everything. You're like, nah, dude, I don't have to tell you jack.
It's kind of like you're talking about the hardware. It's kind of like back in the day with our chemistry test with the TI-83 calculators.
Oh, the programs.
Yes, with the programs. And you come around and wipe your TI calculators, where you write the sneaky program, and it looks like it was being wiping, even though it wasn't really being wiped. But it's kind of the same thing with then you went to the AP exam, where the AP exam, it's like you had to have this exact calculator, this exact program, et cetera, because they had those rules.
Right.
Because it really doesn't benefit, in this case, the AP board, but in this case, it doesn't benefit the Overwatch League of loosening up the rules.
Right.
I mean, there's no benefit to Blizzard by being loosey-goosey with the rules.
Absolutely. And so, and this actually, be tough up front and then loosen it up as time goes on. That's literally was my motto. Once upon a time, I was a resident assistant at a university up in South Carolina. And my one and only thing was, if I don't hear it, I don't see it, I don't smell it, it doesn't exist. You make any of these three happen, I will write your ass up in a heartbeat.
Basically, don't be an idiot.
Don't be an idiot, or get on my good side.
Yeah.
And you know what? The vast majority of my residents, the 2 years that I was an RA, followed that to the letter. If you didn't, oh man, that incident report would... Unfortunately, there are some individuals in every single university or college that are immune to incident reports, because those incident reports will go, and that, of course, are the fancy people called athletes.
Oh, yeah.
Believe me, I'm very... Special treatment.
But good Lord, can they eat a lot of hamburgers at the dining hall?
Well, that was football. Basketball and baseball were just...
Oh, no. I tell you, who ate the most food at the dining halls were the lady basketball players.
Oh, I'm sure.
Man, they could scarf down some hot dogs and not the hamburgers. It was rather impressive, actually. The football players, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love UJ football, but man, those football players were jackasses.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a couple shout-outs lined up here. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, there's a phenomenal convention that's going to be happening this November 17th through the 19th up in Greenville, South Carolina. It's called Big Fandom Greenville.
Big Fandom Greenville!
Alter Confusion, of course, will be there. We're doing 2 panels. We will also have a table. I'm not exactly sure who will be my cohort, but we will be there. And of course, it's really a buddy-buddy convention. You're going to hang out with everyone who's there, be it at the tables, be it the cosplayers, be it the talent, whatever. It's a lot of fun.
Charlie's all free.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. And just because I've already had someone ask me this, if you really want me to, I will autograph a Mountain Dew for you. I don't know where the hell this thing came from. Actually, I do, because someone jokingly said, dude, you should sign Mountain Dews.
Will you autograph my chest?
No, I'm not going to. No.
What if a pretty lady comes up to you?
I'll have to think about it.
Okay.
Anyways, a big fan of Greenville is phenomenal. It, once again, is happening in Greenville, South Carolina. If you are anywhere near the area and you can get there, check it out. Of course, the hotel that this thing is being held at is already sold out, but there's a ton of hotels. There's a ton of stuff to do in Greenville. It's awesome when you have a convention in an area where you have a lot of stuff other than the convention. So if you need a breather or a break to go out to dinner, or maybe Greenville's got a phenomenal park system. If you want to just get some fresh air, walk around a little bit, you can do that.
Why have fresh air when you can be inside with all your friends and be where all the con crud is, waiting to intake your system?
Exactly. So anyways, definitely check it out. Google Big Fan of Greenville for more information. They've also got a Facebook page.
Very nice.
All right, speaking of conventions, there's another phenomenal convention that I personally, Charlie, has been at every single year. Ando Khan was once upon a time in Marietta. Then it was 2 years in Domoney, Georgia. Then it took this past year off, and now it's going to be in Peachtree Corners. And it's awesome. It's not video. If you're looking for a video game convention, this is not going to be for you.
No video games.
I mean, we'll be there to talk about video games, but the vast majority of the time, it's all about board games, pencil and paper RPGs, and I cannot stress this enough, beta testing really awesome games that you would not even be able to fathom. Some of these guys are just like mind-blowingly amazing with their concepts, and you get to be on the ground floor to check out these games. I've heard an interesting rumor that Craig Campbell might be showing up with Die Laughing for consumption, or I've also heard potentially he will be bringing capers with the custom capers deck, which I saw pictures. Oh, it looks good. It looks good. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, andokhan.org, all one word. Check it out. Of course, you can Google it, because that's how Zealeus gets anything and everything done, is you Google
Ando
Khan.
Who types web addresses? Just Google it all.
I type web addresses.
You're weird, man.
Whatever, man. But anyway, seriously, Ando Khan is awesome. It's another buddy convention. I like buddy conventions.
And of course, you know what Charlie was talking about? Yes, I love the fact you get to play beta test games, but they also have like walls of every board game you could possibly imagine. Probably except Monopoly. So they probably have it somewhere. So you can check out all the board games you want. And it's like, what, $35 for the entire weekend?
Yeah, it's
like
nothing.
Not that much. So the price you pay to get into this, to play all the board games and RPGs that your part could possibly consume, it's definitely worth checking out.
And let me tell you this, you will lose track of time, because there's no windows, but you're going to have a hell of a good time.
Who needs windows,
hell of a good time. It's kind of like, it's like a casino, except you're not losing money.
What if I win money at the casino?
Then the house is probably going to escort you out of the building. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one last shout out, and that, of course, is, ladies and gentlemen, there's a phenomenal thing called Patreon.
Yeah,
Patreon is basically the ability for you, the fans, the viewers, the friends, the lovers, whatever, to give back to Ultra Confusion in a monetary way. It's a monthly basically donation or pledge. All that money goes straight into Ultra Confusion to allow us to go to conventions such as Big Fan of Greenville, Ando Khan, MomoCon, Canuga, which we are not going to do this year simply because we don't have the money. Or, we also utilize it for upgrading gear. I'm really looking for the ability to upgrade maybe the webcam. And also, Zealeus and I have been toying around with trying to mount our Con TV to utilize it for our basically the chat window and the streaming statistics, just to kind of clear things up.
You should get a projector and just...
Yeah, that would be cool as well. However, the ceiling is really freaking weird to put a projector on. Anyway, so if you want to donate any amount, you can go to Patreon. And of course, look for Ultra Confusion. Of course, you can find that information if you're watching this on Twitch in the area below this video. If you're watching the recording of it, your best bet is to either go to Patreon and type in Ultra Confusion, or you can go to our website, ultraconfusion.com, and you can hit the Patreon button from there. Now, if you're only looking for a one-time donation, we also have a PayPal account set up that goes straight to Ultra Confusion. Once again, Zealeus and I do not touch that money. It goes straight into Ultra Confusion for the sole purpose of Ultra Confusion. And you can do a one-time donation through PayPal, which goes to Ultra Confusion to help us once again with conventions, equipment, and other stuff. Finally, if you do not want to do a monetary donation, but you want to help Ultra Confusion out in some other way, there are tons of things that you can help us with. All you need to do is contact us either on Twitch, on our website, www.ultraconfusion.com. You can tweet at us on Twitter.
At Ultra Confusio, because there's no end, because...
The end would break the internet.
Who knows?
You can, of course, check us out on Facebook.
At Ultra Confusion.
And, of course, if you're watching this recording, you're probably either watching on our website or on YouTube, so you can find us on YouTube.
At Ultra Confusion, LLC.
And, of course, at any of these locations, you can reach out to us, and it goes straight to me, and I have a pretty quick turnaround, hopefully, usually, and we will definitely, if there's, and the other thing is, if you have any questions, comments, topics you want to bring up for the show, you of course can hit us up on any of these social media things as well. That, that's, the topics you have listened to or chatted about this evening were given to us from you, the fans, the viewers. So you guys are awesome. Keep them coming, and we will continue to talk about what y'all want to talk about.
It's always much more interesting. We have fans talking to us, giving us ideas, than Charlie or I coming up with the ideas. Ours are lame.
Now, I do want to point out one thing. I know that a lot of people are always excited about the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
I'm excited.
There's a couple things I need to tell you. One, we're going to try to do an Ultra Confusion Thursday Night live hangout at MomoCon next year.
What?
Second of all, due to the fact that my sister is getting married next week, there will not be a Thursday night hangout because I am the officiating minister for my sister's wedding, so I will be up in North Carolina prepping for the wedding.
When do you actually go up there?
Thursday morning.
Nice. I go up there Saturday.
I'll be up there. So unfortunately, next Thursday there will not be a hangout unless Zealeus wants to fly solo.
What if you live stream from North Carolina?
There's no Wi-Fi and the signal is weak. There's no phones in anyone's room. There's only phones in the main hall.
Wait, why am I going up there again?
Because of the amazing food, the amazing time that you're going to have, and of course the awesome air and the scenery.
Oh, okay.
And there'll probably be some hot chicks up there too.
There we go.
There it is.
I was told I'm going to be sat at a table of all single ladies.
Yes.
We'll see how that goes. We'll see if that's remembered.
Yes. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, I do want to thank everybody for tuning into the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. It's been our pleasure to give everything coming out of our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We will be back not next Thursday, but the following Thursday to give you even more of the awesomeness that is the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
2 weeks worth of stuff.
Indeed, that means that you get to pressure us with as many topics as possible, and we will make sure we cover as much as possible in 2 weeks. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout, and we'll see you in the near future.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.